Hi, what's up, everyone? Welcome to today's market and trade recap. I'm gonna go over the price action from today's market and also how I took this trade during FOMC. So, first thing we have here, we have market open. I was not expecting too much out of AM. Usually, we don't have too much volatility during AM before FOMC, but it wasn't too bad as I'm about to show you. So, we have an accumulation pre market, pretty usual. We open up and then we tap into this 30-minute gap with a bunch of SMTs. So we had two high time frame SMTs, one inside this 30-minute gap. This sponsors this first move down, but we can see we don't take London lows during this first move. So then in this retracement up, we have another SMT. And now this is a pretty nice short opportunity. We still have our draw here. So this is a pretty nice continuation shorts. Now for your entry, you'd have two options here. The first one would have been at this 30-second here. This would have been the best entry, super nice RR. But the candle that inverse did ended up sweeping this low. This would have probably been my break-even spot, so I don't really like that entry. So at that point, I thought, okay, I'm gonna just wait for the highest time frame inversion in this leg, which in this case would have been a 5-minute. Now, this is a pretty clean setup. I just don't like the close on this. The RR would have been pretty bad. I mean, if you waited for a retracement and a tap into the inversion, you would have never gotten it. And if you just entered after the close, the only way you could have had a nice RR would have been putting it at the body here. And even then, I mean, it's a 1-to-1. I don't really like taking that low of an RR. I mean, it depends a lot on the setup, but so I ended up not taking this. And then once we took my main draw, which was London lows, we started accumulating a lot. At that point, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna wait for FOMC. So I stopped looking at the charts right after this, and then I got back at 2 p.m. when FOMC dropped. So FOMC, we can see we go up a little bit, go back to these highs here. We sweep these highs, and then this sponsors this whole move down. Now I was still waiting until 2:30 to make sure I was in a trade, so I didn't try to take anything here. Now after this is when I got my setup. So you can see that in this move down, if you go to the 3-minute, we have this move up here. And I choose the 3 minutes just because it makes this move up way cleaner. So this is where I trace my fib. This is the B leg of the breaker. We also tapped into this pretty discounted 1 hour down here. And my final bearish draws were all taken. So if you look at ES, N, and Q, we both filled the daily gap completely. So this was my final bearish draw here. So even though we were dumping all day, I was okay with taking longs after that draw was met, mainly with this setup, which I'll go over now. So this is a pretty nice ABS and max setup. As I said, I put my fib in this retracement up here. So we go down, we sweep this first low here, resweep that low. In this move, we also have an SMT. ES made a huge move down, so we had an SMT with a high time frame low. You can see we also perfectly reject from this pretty high probability ABS level, immediately get a V-shaped recovery and the highest time frame inversion in the leg, which would be this 1 minute. I had it marked out wrong. It said 2 minutes, but it was this 1 minute. And this is the highest time frame inversion the leg, so it's super high probability. So I enter right after the close. I move my stop to break even once we sweep this internal high. And I ended up just targeting this high here, but you could have held it all the way to 9:30 highs here. I mean, this was pretty risky, mainly because I'm not a big fan of trading PM, but FOMC, pretty volatile, so it's pretty nice still. You can always see that this level here also aligned with the 9:30, So you can target the deviations if you want. I'm not a huge fan. I like targeting liquidity way more because I think market moves through liquidity, so it makes more sense to me. So I ended up full closing at this high, which was still at 3RR, so super nice. Another thing is if you look at the 3 minute where I place my fib and you consider this to be your bullish breaker, after we had this move that closed above, you can see that price tapped perfectly into it to keep this move up back to 930 highs. So this is how you know it's a nice ABS setup. If we do create this breaker, tap into it, respect, and then keep going that direction, this is how you know the setup worked. So yeah, I ended up making about I ended up making a little over $40,000 with this trade. I'm currently on 25 accounts. I need to get my funded futures ones back, but I'm pretty lazy to pass the evals again. But yeah, this is the only trade I took this week. This is the proof that you don't need to take one trade a day, more than one trade a day. I only took 2 trades this last 8 days, and I'm pretty much up 6 figures already. So this is the proof that you need enough capital, not enough trades. And I'm a huge believer of that, mainly when we're having these bad PAs like we've been having this past week, past month. So yeah, this is pretty much it for today. A lot of people been asking about more videos on how I place the fib and how I trade ABS, so I'll post that in the future too. And yeah, peace out everyone.